Hi guys, we're here with this gorgeous friend of mine, Marina. She has a very posh accent. I can't wait for you guys to hear her accent. I want to read a little piece from your bio. It's such an amazing bio. I was like, wow. You're here because you have all the ingredients society said you needed to be happy, except the happiness. I get it. You see, I wasn't always a relationship coach. My life has had its fair share of turbulence and adversity. I've been confused too, lost in society's conflicting web of how to win at life and how to be loved. I'd fucked myself over. Excuse my French. I sought love everywhere, but within. I didn't understand that love is something you are, not something you get. At one point in my life, being born on Valentine's Day was ironic at best. Wow. And then it goes on, and I'm like, whoa, okay, so many layers. Care to share a bit about that, your story? Let's hear from you.
I think being born on Valentine's Day was a very interesting one, and looking for love outside of me just drove me to destroy myself in so many ways. And I think so many people do it, and they think there's that one person to complete them, which, is a sad story of many, when ultimately you are love. So where do I begin with all of this? I think a lot of stuff stems from your upbringing and how you're brought up. And you learn love first from your family. And you're very similar to me. We've got similar backgrounds. I'm Irish, Ukrainian, Greek, Cypriot, very mixed culturally. Never really felt like I necessarily belonged anywhere when you come from a mixed background. And my parents had a lot of trauma, and I kind of worked hard to help them repair it as a child. So then patterns repeated. They repeated in relationships, working hard for love, working hard to be liked. Seeing my dad nearly die was massive for me, and seeing him almost be like a superstar. Then he was an entrepreneur, and he got given 24 hours to live because he didn't look after his health. And I think that's a massive push and an inspiration to me. My dad was very spiritual, and he had a lot of trauma. He suffered because of his trauma. He was a bit of a naughty boy, as you call it. And that was because that was the only outlet he had to process the trauma he went through. Immigrational trauma, strict dad that didn't think men should cry or men should be sensitive. He used to beat him up. And when your dad beats you up, I suppose you learn to beat other people up, including yourself. So lots of men, it doesn't come out in anything but physical illness in them. So they get very unwell, and they don't even understand it's to do with the trauma they've been through.
Wow. I am so you think that whenever you get beaten up in your childhood, do you think those type of people, is that why those people that were traumatized as children, that's why they put up with so much more, they just endure a lot more in a relationship because they just haven't healed from some trauma?
Yeah.
Wow.
But it's almost like a repeat pattern. Again, what's normal for you is not normal for somebody that had a consistent, secure childhood. And if you had a consistent, secure childhood, your tolerance level is completely different from someone that's been through a lot of trauma. And it's almost familiar to you. So because it's familiar to you, it's also keeping you safe. So when I look at relationship dynamics, the people that tend to stay longer in kind of abusive relationships, it is because it's a pattern from childhood. It is hard to break it. I've been through that myself. To break them patterns is massive, because sometimes you don't even realize the cycle because it might look better than your own childhood, right?
Wow. That makes sense. Wow. How were you as a child?
Yeah. As in, I was the ultimate good girl. The ultimate. But then I remember going through my childhood and going through a lot of abuse. So I was bullied at school, I was bullied at home. There was lots of themes of that. And so, again, it repeats generationally. So again, what you don't repair repeats, and it mirrors your home life. So if you're getting bullied at home, then of course you're going to get bullied outside. It's like you're an energetic match to that.
Right. And how did you heal all that trauma? Like, what were the steps? How did you get there?
It's been like an ongoing process. It wasn't just like a straight line. It's trusting your intuition, investing in yourself, understanding when a pattern comes up and going, actually, this is something that's going on with my family system. This is something that is to do with me, not to do with the other person. And if we look at everyone in our life as a gift, the ultimate goal is to be at peace and not to be triggered. If we're constantly being triggered by things, then we have to look within us. If things are repeating, then they're repeating for us to love them. And that's my method, like, love the fuck out of it all. Because until you do, it just repeats. Until you go, okay, I'm calm. Like, I'm not going to react. I'll send that person love. They won't be in the front row seats of my life, but I'm not going to create drama around this. I'm going to send them love and just put them in the back row seat. So they still want to watch, they can watch, but they're not going to be on the stage with me no more. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So when you're at that stage and you can easily go, okay, I process something in a day or 2 days, it means you're getting closer to peace and completion. I believe we're continuously evolving. I don't believe that one day we get there and we go, hey.
It's true. Yeah, it's a constant, continuous. Yeah. For those that don't know, Marina is a coaching expert. She's a relationship coach. And I have 2 questions for that. What experiences during your 20-year corporate and acting career led you to believe that every individual deserves their moment in the spotlight? We're just talking about being on that stage. And I know you do that through your coaching. You have techniques where you help everybody find the best, and you bring out the best in them.
Thank you. That is such a beautiful question. Because ultimately, this is your life. You are the star of your show. It is about you. And so often we're told to step down. This isn't about you. And lots of people, including myself, struggled putting everyone else first and not stepping on that stage. And there comes a time in your life where you have to realize that you are orchestrating it all. You are one of the creators, as in God is a creator, but so are you. So you are creating your reality. And so who are you not to be? Like Marianne Williamson says, beautiful, marvelous, wonderful. Who are you not to shine your lights? You playing small doesn't serve anybody. You're here to use all your gifts and talents fully. And so my job is to find them and to build them up and to bring them out. We have enough in society of people trying to pull people down on their weaknesses. We all have weaknesses. We all know our weaknesses. That's not my job. I want to highlight people's strengths. I want to shine a light of love on their darkness. I want to build them up so then they can fly. I want to give them back their power as soon as I can. That's the job of a coach, a healer, whatever you want to call it.
It's amazing. And I know you studied psychodynamic counseling and achieved accreditation in mindfulness and hypnosis as well. What was it? In 2014, you combined all of that and founded the Subconscious Rise Method. I want to know more about that. Like, what is all that?
So I studied. So I went off, and over 10 years ago, I've always kind of been in the corporate world. I done sales. I led sales teams. I was always a top achiever, a top salesperson. I trained everyone. And I kind of followed my heart and my intuition. And I ended up in a coaching course. And it was a coactive coaching course, which came from psychologists that wanted to take people further. It's very heavily used in corporate. It's the first qualification of coaching to come out of the US, and it's the most credible. But it's the only qualification that does a lot of embodiment work. And it really resonated with me from coming from a counseling background and learning that stuff. And the shifts I saw in my own work were massive. So my formula is around processing through the body. Now, a lot of people are very heady. They want to logicalize everything, and that's great. But until you feel your sadness, until you feel your anger, until you process that through your body, it's in my heart, it's in my stomach, my legs, wherever it is, unless you move that, and unless you have them shifts with your body, you don't move past. You stay stuck. You stay almost strengthening that neuro pathway of talking again and again about something, but nothing's shifting. So to shift something as quickly as you can, we need to get people processing through their body. So embodiment is key. You don't need to talk about the story. Often people think, oh, I need to talk. Sometimes if you've never talked about it, yes. But sometimes some people just stay in a loop of talking about it and not actually processing. So for me, it's to help people process, get them out of that, and then get them acting, get them up, get them in movement, get them seeing things from different perspectives, getting them playing out something that happened, then acting how they would have wanted to change it, to reprogram their subconscious. Your subconscious is massive. It happens between 0 and 7. 95% of your life is running on that program. If you don't change that program, everything stays the same. How you change it is through things like hypnosis, movement, your subconscious, out of your head and into your body. For me, it's done wonders. It's massive. It's where the emotional releases are. I was a person told, you don't cry. You don't cry. So for me to go through that transformation, to be able to cry, to be able to work with other clients, especially men that then could cry through intentionally, because I don't believe that, but it's just, we're getting the emotions out. Anger's gorgeous. Sadness is gorgeous. There's no judgment. And then that subconscious, getting you into a relaxed state and reprogramming the new program, changing the beliefs with a very relaxed, calm nervous system. So you realize again that you are loved. You are enough. You are worthy. Whatever needs to be reprogrammed. So you shift your energetic vibration or what to go into like the quantum physics stuff, so that you are on a different course.
So the subconscious rise method would be like an intersection of psychology, neurolinguistic programming, acting, and hypnosis all in one. And actually, when I met Marina, like you said, there's something about her that just makes you feel comfortable. We met on Instagram, but then we also met in person, and I was having the worst day of the year. I never drink, so that was the night before I had a lot of alcohol, so I was so sick. But I still opened up to her right away. I just felt comfortable and at peace, and I told her stuff that I didn't tell other people, so anybody else. And I was like, oh my gosh, what the heck? There's something about her that it just makes people feel comfortable to open up, to just be themselves. And I can see how all these different reviews, like all these people bragging about what an amazing coach you are. I can totally see why. So yeah, how can people sign up to be coached?
Just contact me direct through my website, Marina Lazaris. I also have a school community, which is School Millionaire, which I'm coaching men to obviously better their relationships, to improve their finances. Yes. And so it's all linked. It's all linked.
Cool.
Yeah, it's all linked.
So not just healing the trauma, the childhood, but also becoming a better person, also finding that, becoming a happier person, also getting richer. I mean, yes.
But that's what it's about, right? So I think, again, that's super attractive. I don't know what you think. You're probably similar to me, but a man that's got purpose, passion, he's driven, that's attractive. And so getting men to understand that is their light. If they have them gifts, share them rather than chasing women. Improve your relationships. Become a man of integrity. Mm-hmm. That's beautiful. If we can grow that, and men are serving humanity more, how sexy is that? I mean, more women championing that and going,
wow. Men need to DM you right now. And let's talk about your book. When we're the subject, the man. Here's the book, you guys. Oh my goodness. So this is one of, there are those type of books that put you to sleep, and then there are those books that you just want to like read in the whole weekend. This is what I'm afraid, because I started reading and I was already like, I think I was on page 7, and I'm like, I can't go to sleep. I need to read more. It's like addictive. So I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm going to finish it this weekend, because all you're thinking about is, I want to read more. It's so freaking amazing. And I love that, a lot of the books these days are like written, they use a lot of AI, so they're not so authentic. But here you put your soul. I can see it's you in all these lines, and everything is how can I help? How can I, all this is just, guys, it's amazing. I was impressed.
Because you know how I done it? Yeah, I done it like a question and answer. So it was the questions the guys would come into me, and then I gave my theory, but then my real life experience. Because guess what? We're all fucking human.
Yep.
Somebody and to say that we're not, it's just, you know, I have messed up, I have done stupid things, and to say like, hey, like, listen, this is how I've got through it, and this is what I've learned, and this is the experiences I've had, you know. So if people can learn from my pain and not repeat it, or they can resonate with it and find their own way, that's the idea. And it's like simple, like that's the whole point. You can just flick to a little question, read it, read the theory, read my thing, and then flick to a different question. So it's not so, it's more bite-sized chunks.
And I love how you discuss how men are often taught to suppress their emotions. How do you propose we start changing this narrative in our homes and communities?
We have to provide safe places and love and compassion. I think there has been a rise in the feminine, which I think is beautiful. And at the same time, it's been this rise of the men getting angry and their voice being diminished. So it's how can we come together, love one another, provide safe places of compassion and understanding so that we can express our emotions fully with no shame. And that's how you deepen a connection in a friendship and in a relationship.
I love that. That answer is, wow. Yeah. And can you talk about the role of vulnerability in men's emotional health as explored in your book?
It's super important because if men don't have somewhere to go to have these conversations, this is where suicide and things happen. We need to be able to provide safe places because men will go to other men, but lots of things they can't go to other men. So if they can't then go to other men and then they can't go to women, who do they go to? And so there's that love and that compassion and that respect going both ways between men and women that needs to kind of be cultivated back. And that understanding of, right, that guy can't speak his truth. He's struggling. That's okay. It's not about me. And then it's about him being able to have that space where he's just going, do you know what? It might come out wrong. I might sound like a, you know, it just might sound like whatever, but I'm trying here. And if we give more space to that without trying to name call one another, which is really prevalent in today's society, then we grow and we rise together.
I love it. Yeah. I'm gonna go into some questions from the group, and I have a group where, you know, they always provide me with questions. I mean, we have a lot of them. I'm probably gonna cut. I don't know how you feel about answering 12. That's a lot. Maybe we can address some during our live video. We're gonna have, Marina and I are planning on having a live video on Instagram on January 17th, 7 p.m. London time, 11 a.m. Vegas time. You guys can do the math for the rest of the times. Math is never my forte. So yes, maybe we can start with some of the questions, and you know, I don't want to overwhelm Marina today with all your guys' questions, but I'll remember them. So one is, a man can have any woman he wants if he is consistent and persistent enough. What are your thoughts on that? Is it true?
I love this. Men aren't consistent and persistent enough. They give up easily. The problem is, a woman wants to feel safe. If she wants to have a family and have children with a man, biologically, she's going to be looking for a man that's going to keep showing up no matter what. If he doesn't, then biologically, she won't want to have children with him. He won't be making her feel safe. So it's very rare for a man to keep showing up consistently. Like, you just want me to be friends with me? Okay, I'm going to still show up. I like you as a person. I like your soul. It's not about what I can get from you. It's just that I'm here. I'm consistent. I'm a man. I'm stable. I'm around. You're going to get the woman eventually.
I couldn't agree more. I'm with you. What about how long? When should enough be enough? Well, what do you think? Do you think they should hang around for what, 3 months, 4 months, a year? Just Is there a timeline?
I think it's an interesting one because, again, if you're in relationships, what you can get and not what you can give, you're always going to be unhappy and unfulfilled. So you need to shift that paradigm and you need to move away from that and to be like, hey, if I like this woman enough to be friends with her and she's an amazing person, then just keep a friendship. It shouldn't be like, oh, I'm going to stick around until I get this 3 months, 6 months. You know what? You might just have a beautiful friendship. And the fact that you've got that friendship in your life, you'll be able to attract a similar woman of a similar caliber, even if it's not her. If you have gratitude for her, if you stay around for her and you're a good person, then who knows what can happen? Maybe it might be 10 years. Who knows? But at the same time, it should be more about what you can give. And that's what relationships should be based on. Like, we can both give to one another. We can create something. We can create a vision. We can create some gorgeous energy here. That's priceless. It shouldn't be like, I'm going to stick around until I can sleep with this woman or until she can be my girlfriend. Because women feel that. And that becomes ungenuine and then that becomes icky. And we're not stupid. We're very emotionally intelligent beings. And so if it comes from that place, it's going to become across desperate and icky.
Yes.
So just be a good person.
Right. Another question from this is from a person we know. We both know. It's a friend in common.
Yeah.
He said, I fell in love with a woman who's separated but not yet divorced. Should I pursue her, wait, or step back? You know this guy.
Yes.
Like, boy, please. I don't know.
So if you fall in love with someone that is not finished a cycle, a relationship cycle, then 100% you can still be friends with them. But how you start something is everything. If you start something by cheating on someone, then you've started something in a lower version of yourself, not your higher self. Ultimately, we want to create relationships that make us better human beings, that make us step more into our higher self, that don't remind us of, hey, they hadn't really finished their business. It was still a bit yucky. They were still married to someone else. Or I could have been the reason why that they didn't end up getting back with their husband. Or that feels icky. And if you're okay with that, great. But you're never going to go to the next vibrational level with someone. So if you're feeling like, what should I do? That's a sign. That's a sign. Like if you're feeling something's out of integrity, you're questioning it, then maybe do step back and just be a good person and a good friend and let something naturally run its course. But to steam in when someone hasn't finished a divorce or, and I've had that, right? With my ex-husband, he had the woman from the gym lined up. He had my babysitter lined up. And I look at that with compassion and love because I'm like,
you're a better woman than me.
But when I look at that, I'm like, my gosh, it's all about being at your higher self and picking a partner when, for me, I talk around it in my book. I have gone towards, for example, making love at Christmas when I'm sad and lonely. And that's how I started my relationship with my ex. I was sad, I was lonely, it's Christmas Eve, and I numbed the pain through sleeping with him.
This Christmas?
And again, no, not this Christmas.
What?
I'm honestly healed. No, when I was 24, when I was like 24. So when I was young, this is like a trauma bond. Like recognize your patterns, right? If you're going towards something when you're to numb your pain or because you're sad, again, I think a man in his integrity would be like, hey, you're a bit sad. I'm just going to cuddle you.
He took advantage. He's like, that's my moment.
And then, again, I think there's lots of relationship advice about push-pull tactics to get a man and don't ignore them and wait until they text you back. That's the divorce, my darling. And, welcome to the divorce. Do not listen to them.
Oh my goodness. So homeboy should just stay friends until things are clear with her.
Homeboy should definitely do that because, ultimately it's that mystery anyway of like having a friend there. I was friends with this guy for years and oh my God, I love the friendship so much. I adored him.
Aww.
And that was priceless to me.
Nice. And he was
Yeah.
just, you think he was a genuine friend, or was he there kind of like hoping type of friend?
He was genuine. He was a genuine friend. He was an actor and he was a genuine friend. He was, yeah. And, yeah. And we were friends for years.
Why is it
And he
was?
never-
Why was? What happened? It ended. Oh no.
Yeah. So I think sometimes you do. I think there was something that I called him out on that he didn't like at the time. And again, we drifted. And maybe there was something there, but again, I think anything, as long as you hold it in your heart as a high regard, and you send everyone love, and I appreciate that friendship at that time when I was going through that hard period in my divorce, in lockdown, and I think we both helped each other in a way, which was nice.
Yeah, I think the masculine man gets the lady, like you said in one of your reels, and I couldn't agree more. That was an amazing reel. And especially when you're there at her lowest, like if you're her friend when she needs someone the most, he could have had you, this friend of yours, if he would have, I guess.
100%.
Yeah,
he could have.
he could.
And I think, but that was again his choice, and maybe he had fear there. There was something there, unprocessed trauma and stuff, and that's again okay. And I agree. I think that having that person connect to you and show up for you no matter what, wow, because that's an emotionally deep man.
Yeah. Yeah, if they can. Yeah, that's true. Those type of men, I don't think they exist anymore. I don't know. This in this day and age, I don't know. They're after, I don't know. They're quickly moving on. They're like next. They just move on, swipe so quickly.
And it's sad because then it's again, because what I'm trying to cultivate more of is, if you can't sit with your sadness, if you can't sit with your anger, you want the next woman, you want the next house, you want the next thing, and it's just all a way to distract. So then it's not enough because you don't feel enough inside. You don't feel worthy inside. So you make everyone else not enough. And then that becomes like, then they go to the next extreme. So, okay, one woman's not satisfied, and then they need two women, then they need a swingers party, then they need, and they go down these rabbit holes they don't want to go down. And you're just like, that's so sad. All because they couldn't feel their emotions, because they can't connect deeply, because they can't be still. All because of that.
Wow, yeah. They don't want to just sit alone with their trauma for a moment to heal and really understand.
Well, they have no one to go to. They haven't been able to find an outlet or no one to go to, and they don't even realize it's associated to that. And no one's told them, like, you can kiss someone, go into a different realm. You can have such a magical experience just kissing, where you're almost in flow state, like a psychedelic experience, because you're so present. Like, no one's talking about these things. They're just, and so it's been pushed on men. Porn's been thrown on them left, right, and center. OnlyFans, all this stuff. And then men don't really know what to do. They're just being attacked from all areas in many ways. And you're like, wow, AI robots. This is what you should find attractive. This is what. And then they're just like, and then we wonder why they are like that.
Yeah, and all these accounts with AI females on Instagram. And seriously, like, if you're going to start thinking that's the ideal woman and as this flawless, not human, obviously, this flawless AI creature, poor women, you're going to see a little pimple. You're going to be like, oh, please, she's not next. Because now they're just having these stupid standards up there that are unrealistic. Ideal woman, this doesn't even exist. What are you doing? What is wrong with you? Like, don't you realize social media is fake?
But it's just the same as the man, right? So when you get the man with the six-pack that looks absolutely gorgeous, I mean, everyone gets to the stage where you're like, it looks really good, but actually there's something gorgeous about imperfection. There's something gorgeous about a scar. Oh my God, isn't that sexy?
Yeah,
there's something gorgeous. Yeah. It's something really like, oh my God, they're authentic, they're real, they've got character. Oh, they're trying the hardest to be like, you want this? No. Even women, you don't want it. I'm sorry, I've been there. The guy with the stick, you're just like, right, that was it? No. Authenticity. Authenticity is the highest vibration of them all. There's nothing sexier than somebody that's real, because the energy is so high, and you want to be around people that you can't see that through screens anyway. Rarely can you see that. You can't.
Right?
You can't. Back to real life, please, life. To community and seeing the beauty in the unperfectness. It's going to become more gorgeous as people turn more fake.
I agree. Yeah. Yeah, I was just looking at some of the Instagram profiles. I'm like, man, this person, she was gorgeous. Why did she go to get mess up her face with all these plastic surgeries, all these things? She could have had this, unique look, and now she just looks like everybody else with the teeth all like that. Oh my gosh, this is one of, I don't even know why are we doing all this to us? Like, it's crazy.
I think it's super hard. I think women are taught to look like an object, like to be like this object in so many ways, but they don't realize it's being objectified. It's hard because you want to look desirable. It's kind of like a part of nature, but you realize that when you're treated like an object, it's a really horrible feeling. And yet we do it to ourselves. And so it's a fine balance of having compassion and seeing that if you are insecure, if you let the wrong man in that doesn't make you feel enough, or the wrong people in that are like, hey, you need a bit of Botox, friends, or, guys are like, I prefer women with fake chests. Next thing you know, these vulnerable women end up changing themselves completely because they're getting some attention, and it's the wrong attention. It's the wrong attention. But when you're lonely and you don't feel loved, any attention sometimes is good attention. And so I think it's a love deficit. I think it's a not finding your passion deficit. It's kind of like then just being like, okay, that hit of dopamine, somebody likes me and this is what they want. This is what a man wants. He wants me to look like this. And I'm going to be able to get a man like this. It's sad because it's never the answer getting a man.
Right. Yeah. Totally. Yeah. There's a funny question here, my goodness, from Laura. My man wants me to call him daddy when we're in an intimate setting. Well, she said a different word, but I'm not going to. Intimate setting. Is that something I should worry about?
Well, I think if she's asking that question, is she worried about it? That's what I want to know. Are you worried about it? Because you're asking that question. And again, it's a dynamic, isn't it? It's how do you feel about relating to him as your daddy? Do you have daddy issues? I'm telling you now, I'm not calling anyone daddy, that's for sure.
What if it's hot?
No. Like, what do you think I am? I'm not calling you daddy. I'm not my dad. Thank you very much. I've got one dad. I'm not calling you daddy. If you don't like it, there's a door. Bye-bye.
You should worry.
Well, and then it's weird, the dynamics people play with this, and it's like, does that turn you on to feel like a little girl again, a little girl when you're in the bedroom? Mm-hmm. And does that turn him on to think of you as a little girl, calling him daddy? And for me, again, I'm like, it gives me the ick, and it makes me think of a weird thing like, I've got one dad, thank you very much, and this is not something that I want to role play out sexually. And I all find, where did this come from? And again, honestly, do these men think they feel more powerful? Okay, I feel more powerful if you call me daddy. Well, it's going to stroke my ego. Does that come from a secure man? Would a secure man, an integrated man, want you to be calling him daddy in the bedroom? I think I'm more worried about him than anyone else.
You think maybe he has some type of mommy issues?
I think that he, again, has some power issue. If the way you make love is the way you live your life, and again, you want women to be submissive and you want to be seen as a dad figure, what's going on there? I'd be really curious.
Right. And what's going to happen if you marry this man and then you have a little girl together?
Again, I think so often in these situations, people go along with it, but they don't think about it. And I would say, look, if you don't mind, it doesn't make you feel any way, there's no emotional triggers there, and it's, something, a role play between you, okay. But if you're questioning it, something feels off, it doesn't feel right, there's an underlying dynamic there that doesn't feel right, don't do it. Say no. And if they don't like it, you don't have to always say yes. You don't have, because if you betray yourself, somebody else will betray you.
Great answer. Wow. Yeah. Yeah, but it's pretty. I'm seeing that a lot. I'm hearing that a lot. I'm gonna.
Are you?
Yeah, it's
Interesting. No, I don't like anything like that. No baby voices, no daddy, no mummy, no, like, again, and I think that comes from quite a healed, integrated place. I say in my book, the way you make love is the way you live your life. So when all these things come up, I'm like, is there something that needs to be integrated? Is there something that needs to be healed? Probably yes.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Another one. If you've found that opposites attract in relationships, do you think it's the differences or the underlying similarities that truly keep a couple together in the long term?
I think a shared vision keeps a couple together in the long term, and the energy you create with the person the majority of the time. So are you creating energy together that's like good energy when you're with them, or is the energy you're creating negative and pulling you down? And if the majority of the time you're uplifting and you've got a shared vision, then you're going to stay with them. But if it's the opposite and it's pulling you back and it's keeping you in a box and it's lowering your vibration, then it's going to be harder for you to stay in that and grow and do your life purpose.
Wow. Yeah. How do you know when you've truly fallen in love? And is there a difference between loving someone and being in love with them?
I think love is something that you vibrate at, that you are. You choose ultimately. When you become consciously aware, you understand that, okay, if I'm falling in love with somebody, what is it about them that I love? Is there parts of them that I want to reclaim in me? Like, what are these things that I'm falling in love with in this person? If you can talk them all out and go, if I integrated all that into me, and now I've got, maybe you would love that he's really confident, he's outgoing, he's doing, whatever. Now that you think I'm confident, I'm outgoing, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, do you still love him? What else is there? Is it a deeper connection? Is it a deeper soul thing going on? Is it an energetic pull? Is it something more that you can't see? Because that will keep you there. And then you're having a conscious relationship, which is very different to a relationship where you're just being pulled to someone to reclaim parts of you. And that's different. So when you become consciously aware of what it is you're attracted to and you can see the patterns, then your definition of love changes. And love is something you can be in love with everyone, right? And I think if you think of someone quite often, and when you're with them, you're your higher self, and they're creating more of your higher self, which is your best self, and they're bringing more of that out, then almost it's the energy you co-create with that person that you're falling in love with. It's the two of you together. It's that magnetic pull.
Yes. And some people are so desperately looking for love, and they just mirror, they basically see themselves in the other person. And that's when it gets confusing. Is that person really worthy of my love? Or am I just too desperate to actually see things that are not even there? So how do you even know when you're in that situation? How do you know what's true?
Again, I think everybody's worthy of your love. It's just protecting your heart. So whilst everyone is worthy of your love, it's who you're going to give your heart to. So it's protecting that. It's having discernment. It's understanding, you know what? When I leave them, do I feel like, I'm drained? Do I feel unwell? Do I feel like my life force diminishes? Well, then you're betraying and hurting yourself. You're not protecting your heart. But if you're the opposite and, you're giving your love and it's replenished and it's reciprocated and you come away, and like even this podcast is an example of like coming on, I love being here, like, and we're creating this. This is a form of love. And so it's mirroring that. That's how it should be. People should be in situations where they come out and they feel alive, not dead.
Get a headache. It's true. But maybe they get a headache because maybe the chemistry is there sometimes, but maybe it's just the wrong timing.
I don't think it's ever the wrong time. It's just the wrong person.
Really? So you cannot find the right
Yeah.
person at the wrong time.
No, the time is always now. For the right person, the time is always now. Can you imagine somebody saying it's the wrong time? It's not the wrong time. You're just the wrong person. The right person shows up at the right time. There's never a wrong time. There's never a perfect time. Human beings are not perfect. Life is not perfect. And if it's the wrong time, it's just the wrong person. It's just simple as that. When it comes to the head and a headache, it would be like, okay, there's something logical, like, your head's trying to tell you something, and maybe something's hurting in your head that you can't quite figure out around this person. And maybe you need to come into your body. Maybe you're resisting dropping into your heart. Maybe you're resisting dropping into your body around this person. I'd be saying looking towards that. But no, I think for the right person, it's always the right time.
Wow. Very, very powerful statement. I love it. In a world, wow, yeah. Another question. In a world where dating apps and social media play significant roles in how relationships begin, what are your thoughts on finding genuine connection and love in the digital age? How can one easily decipher and decide who's worth meeting or not?
So number one, if this is coming to anyone, on dating apps, people get very disheartened by the whole process. So again, you have to be interested. I mean, if I'm talking to men here, it has to be, as my book does, it has to be like a good opening line when you're, clicking on their picture or something like that.
It's
Say a
one of
good
those
opening.
apps, so I don't know how that is, but
Yeah, so I'd say yes. So like some of them have comments you can make. And so if you're going to comment on something, then say something just interesting. Like, just I saved a few that were really, really good because this is like a little mini course that I want to do. Because it's imperative. Like when you connect with someone, the first thing that you say to them grabs their attention. So whether or not I'd love to create this with you, I'd love to go here with you, I'd love to go on an adventure with you. How does that sound? Like create a bit of excitement. Then they're going to match with you. Don't just go hi. And then the picture that you put on is your main picture. They should be able to see you. You shouldn't be looking left or looking right or be with your mates. No, we want to see who you are. So you should just be a picture of you looking. Now, if they're looking this way or that way, they're normally like there's some attachment issue.
or maybe they have traffic eyes, like the eyes are crossed.
We want to see your face. Like we want to see you. We're like trustworthy wise. We want to see who you are. Right. So just a normal looking picture. Then you want to get to speak to that person more or less straight away. You want to get them on the phone. You want to say, I'm an old-fashioned gentleman. This is the way I do things. Let me speak to you. Let me video call you as quickly as you can to build that connection. And then as quickly as you can, you want to be looking to meet them. And so and I talk around this in my book, as in you want to be talking around what is the happiest time of their life. So you can grab values from that. If the happiest time of their life was traveling to Thailand, they like adventure. Do you like adventure? You can also gauge what date to do, because lots of men think you turn up in a nice car and you take a woman to a dinner date. Well, actually, women don't want that. And actually, it's very hard to find a woman attractive or a man to find the man attractive if you're sitting across the table with them, because it doesn't build attraction. And so you want to be doing something, an activity which builds attraction, where you're kind of bonding, maybe doing something you haven't both done before. It's a little bit exciting. And then you start enjoying the process rather than it being like an interview. Oh, I'm going to go to dinner. That should be later on the dinner date. When you know someone, it shouldn't be at the beginning.
Really? Wow. Very interesting. So go for a walk, do some activity. That's interesting.
Because you build connection, you build attraction, you build excitement, mystery. And, these are the things we need to get back.
Unless he's just trying to sleep with you and then he's going to invite you to his house or something, dinner or whatever. Yeah.
And again, you can see that straight away. And it's just like, okay, come on, have a little bit more decorum.
Right. Oh, man. Yeah, that might be, that's a red flag. What about, you just said you got to talk about the happiest time of your life. What about your happiest time? What was the happiest time of your life?
Yeah, I can think one of the times is, when I went to Thailand by myself when I was young.
Wow.
Yeah. I've literally traveled so much the last few years by myself. Thailand, Bali, Turkey, all over. And I love it. LA. I absolutely adore it. And I think, but this time I was very, very young. It was the first time I was going to see a friend. And I just remember being out in Thailand and realizing the world was really big. And, you know, I was making all these friends and different culture, different environment. And the Thai people are so happy and they're so friendly and they're super sweet. And I just remember thinking that this is just amazing. And at the time I was working in a law firm, setting up teams in a law firm. I was doing a bit of acting, a bit of modeling. I was doing this adventure. And so it was lots of my values. I was helping others. I was by setting up these teams, training them. I was still doing my castings, running around. And I was honouring my values of adventure, really. I love nature. And I love that kind of growth element and helping others.
Yeah. And I noticed you actually are a very people person, and all these people were coming to you that night. I was just like, I felt like I was a blocker because all these guys were trying to come talk to you, and I was out there like, bodyguard, man. And it's just, you know, you have this where people just are drawn to you. They want to come and talk to you, and it was fascinating. That's awesome. Very adventurous spirit too.
I love people.
Yeah.
And I think when you love people and you don't judge, I don't know, I think again, and you're just happy when you're with who you are, that you're just authentic. I think there's freedom in that. That is what freedom is. That's true freedom.
Yeah.
I think when you're worried about what people think of you, you're not really being yourself, you're judging others. It's like you're in this place which I just feel is quite restrictive, and you know, it's that's the stepping into the spotlight. It's being like, hey, this is who I am. You don't like it, you know, bye-bye. You know, no, you're not calling me daddy. Whatever it is, don't call me daddy. Or doing the baby voice. Thank you very much. Like, none of this stuff. No.
My problem is I need to care more what other people think, because, for example, when I had that hangover, I was so like visibly, dang, what's wrong with her? Like, I need to, like, I'm just so brutally honest sometimes. A lot of people get offended around me because I just say it like it is. And I'm like, God, I need a filter.
But I think that's beautiful about you. And I would never change that. It's beautiful. I think that's what people lack and what people need more of is just real honesty. That's what people pay for in coaching, because many people that are extremely successful, they have teams around them and they just tell them what they want to hear. And, you know, a true person that wants to help you develop will tell you. They will tell you the truth. And we need the truth sometimes because we don't grow.
Yeah, I love
and we need real people.
Yeah. And yeah, you're definitely one of those real people, authentic, and yeah, and that's probably why we clicked so well, for sure.
Yeah, you're so similar as well. And you know, and if somebody's done the work, you can't trigger them.
Yeah.
But if they haven't done the work, then you're a really good godsend to them because you're pointing them into the work that they need to do.
Yeah. Oh, yes. I love that. So what are some misconceptions about men's emotional needs that you'd like to address?
Misconceptions. I think there's a misconception that men don't have feelings sometimes.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
There's a misconception that, you know, they can just, you know, people can just talk around things about men and it doesn't affect them, and it really does.
Yeah, because maybe they're just very good at hiding their feelings. Yeah, that doesn't mean they don't have. That's true.
100% they do.
What advice do you have for men who struggle to articulate their need for love and emotional support?
It's okay. You know, love that part of you. Nurture that part of you. Say, you know, to that part, figure out, is that an inner child part? When did that start? How old are you? Right? When that comes up. And then just try and nurture it and go, okay, I know up to now you didn't feel safe. I'm here now. I'm going to help you feel safe. And then just practice it with people that make you feel safe, which people that will, you know, that are consistent, that are stable, that are not going to be reactive. Practice with them first. And then slowly it will build up. But start where you feel safe.
I don't want to be insatiable, but I really, really appreciate you and your amazing spirit.
I appreciate you too.
Thank you. Thank you
Thank
so
you so
much. Have a
much.
wonderful night.
Thank you, darling. Loads of love.